The comfort of your favorite seat is now your comfy car selling command center, thanks to Carvana.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Your favorite seat's the best spot in the house. Make it even better by entering your license plate or VIN and getting a real offer in minutes.
There really is no place like home.
And speaking of home, Carvana will pick up your car from yours after you finalize your offer. Visit Carvana.com or download the app and sell your car from your comfy place. That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable.
On the evening of August 21st, 1955, a family raced into the Hopkinsville, Kentucky police station to report that their house was under attack by a group of alien creatures. These creatures had appeared to try and gain entry to the family's home and were seemingly fended off by two of the men who opened fire on the creatures. This event is one of the most harrowing tales of an extraterrestrial encounter within the UFO world. The idea that otherworldly visitors would apparently choose to terrorize a family is chilling. In January of 1998, a TV special aired that claimed to be clear documentation of another family being assaulted by extraterrestrials within their own home. The video, seemingly recorded on a handheld camcorder, was said to have captured the disturbing final hours of the McPherson family, who disappeared after the night of November 27, 1997. This case file, the theorists fall into some freaky found footage in the incident in Lake County.
Welcome to Alien Theorists Theorizing Case File 166. The incident in Lake County. I'm Braden.
I'm Zo.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Andrew.
What up?
Boys are back.
We're back. Boys are back in town.
Couple beers on a Monday night.
Love it. Let me crack a cold one.
Talking a little UFO. So you know, this is a big topic in ufology.
Yeah, like if you were, maybe for us, we were too young, 100% all of us. We were all too young to appreciate this when it was at its peak. But this had a huge impact in the early 90s.
This was, people always said like, oh, the McPherson tapes, like you check into it. I never really looked into it till this last week. Pretty convincing.
Fucking
for me.
Interesting.
First
wild
watch,
stuff.
Wild stuff. So how do we want to go about this? Because it's based on found footage, technically, right? So you just want to go through the event, Dan? You want to bring us through it?
Sure. Specifically, what we're going to be talking about is the TV special that aired on January 20th, 1998. And it was titled at the time, Alien Abduction Incident in Lake County. I remember watching this when it aired. I remember it coming on TV. It aired on where I was from. The TV station was called UPN. Some people might remember it if you lived on the East Coast of the United States. Now, I remember it coming on. I remember seeing advertising for it. It was like their first kind of big, it was like their first really big kind of alien thing. I mean, this is still like, X-Files was in its heyday. This was like third season of X-Files was running on Fox. And this was like kind of piled on to that kind of the whole UFO alien explosion that happened. That was like the 90s. So that all kind of came in.
Right.
What this TV special portrayed, or what it said that it was showing viewers, was footage that had been shot on a home video camera on Thanksgiving, November 27th, 1997 in Lake County, Montana. And the family that is in the video were known as the McPhersons. And the McPherson family was said to have, what happened on the video. The TV special, when it began, it said like this was real. There was no, maybe they didn't say it was real, or they claimed that this is completely verified as true, but they didn't say that it wasn't. They just kind of said this is actual footage of the McPherson family and a harrowing experience that they had, and that after this video,
viewer discretion advised.
Right. There's lots of warnings that, there's disturbing footage and viewer discretion is advised, and that the McPhersons had actually disappeared. The entire family was gone. This was like their last testament and video. That was it.
They might not have clarified if it was real or not, but they brought in fucking experts. You know what I mean? Like they had child psychologists, they had UFO experts, they had like doctors with their fucking faces black. You know what I mean? It's like, we're not telling you this is real, but we have these real fucking experts. To break these fucking clips down. And you're like, I'm so blown away at how they got away with this.
It was it's presented as found footage, like their last testimony of the end of their life before they disappeared is how it was presented. Like they filmed this whole event throughout the night. It was like hours long, sporadic filming, hours long, and it was presented as these guys got fucked up by aliens. Is what happened. You
know what is really big about this too is like this is way before found footage genre movies were big. Like this was before Blair Witch.
This was about a year or almost 2 years before Blair Witch. Yeah.
Right? Like this was fucking before its time. A year exactly, like Dan said, but it was fucking good. Like it was entertaining.
So the film begins as like it's Thanksgiving, all the families together. It's your basic kind of family get together. They're all sitting down to have dinner in the evening of November 27th, and suddenly you have this power outage, right? So I mean, it's already titled Alien Abduction, so power goes out. You're like, okay, shit's about to get real, right? Power goes out. Nobody, it's just a, circuit blew or something like that. So you have the McPherson brothers. There's three of them, the older, middle, and younger. I forget all their names because there's just a bunch of them. Like the McPhersons, there's probably like 8 people or something.
Yeah, it's referred to as just the McPherson tapes because it's mainly the McPherson family with, I think there's a boyfriend and a girlfriend also.
Right.
But majority just the McPherson
so
tape.
It's of the ones that I specifically remember, there's the 3 brothers. There's like one younger sister. There's the mother. The father is absent at some point. I don't think they really specify if he died or not. And then there's like the youngest sister who's about, I think she's supposed to be like 8 or so,
something like that.
And then you have like one of the guys, like the older brother has a wife, I believe. And then the other one, and then the daughter has a boyfriend who's there for Thanksgiving. So the power goes out. So of course, 3 brothers are like, well, let's go check it out. Now I have never personally experienced a power outage where you had to go outside and that the circuit breaker is outside of the house. Have you guys been to houses like that before? I've never been to one of those.
A circuit breaker on the outside of a house is like, that's old school.
Yeah, and so when we go camping, Zell, you've been up to the ranch.
Yeah.
Like if there is electricity, but it's all like one centralized power plant kind of thing where there's a generator and stuff. So you can blow the fuse to the generator. So then you have to like go outside, go for a bit of a hike to the power plant to restart the fuse. So it's not really like unheard of.
Well, it's the reason they don't they don't put fuse boxes on the outside of your house, then anyone could just walk to your house and knock off your power.
Any murderer. Just click, 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 click.
Fuse off.
Like if we learned anything from Jurassic Park, you don't want to be holding on to your butts. Do not go and flip those fucking breakers. Sit in the fucking dark, light some candles. That shit never works out.
Yeah.
Do you know, like thinking about that now, how ridiculous that is that all the breakers are so far away from the main area of Jurassic Park that you have to walk outside?
Yeah. Oh, no, it's not a big deal, actually. You just take a left right through the raptor fucking cage. You know what I mean? Like, no big deal. Like, it's all good. They're kind of clever, but don't worry about them. You'll be fine.
Well, that's a little different, but yes. I see.
John Hammond's sitting there. He's like, I've come up with the greatest plan. No one can ever tamper with the fuse boxes because it's underneath the raptor lair. And it's like, but what happens if we blow a fuse? He's like, welcome to Jurassic Park.
So they have the breakers blow. They go out there and the fuse box it's melted. Like it's when they look at it, it's
fried.
That thing is toasted.
It looks like when I brought an American power bar with me to Thailand and plugged it in by mistake.
Just massive currency overload or current overload.
Now the brothers, while they're out there, then they sight a mysterious light which kind of flies over near the woods near their house, and they kind of figure like, well, okay, let's go check that out. Or kind of figure out what's going on. So they go over there. They witness a couple of transformers blowing. Like, I'm pretty sure like there's just like
exactly.
Like,
they actually said like, oh, I wonder if it's that big transformer in the field. We should go check it out. And sure enough,
why there's a transformer in the middle of a field.
Like I guess if they bring in power from the road, the best place for the pole is in the middle of your field, I guess. But they actually specifically say like, oh, it must be that transformer in the neighbor's field. We should go check it out. And when they get there, sure enough, the transformer is arcing.
Right.
They were dead on it.
And we've talked about this.
That's an interesting thing to think. I mean, I guess if we don't know, maybe one of them's
electrical engineer.
Electrical engineer or something. But I've never been in a power outage to be like, holy smokes, guys, let's go check out the transformer.
Well, I mean, it's a farm. Like, I bet you it's happened to them before.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Probably.
And that was the instinct. The transformer blew before.
Even the melted fuse box doesn't seem to alarm them all that much. Like, they're kind of like, well, this happens. Like,
it's lightning.
The power company out here.
They claim it was lightning. They're like, it must have been lightning, which
is crazy because it's like, it's not storming outside. Are you fucking crazy? Like,
ball lightning.
Dry lightning.
It's ball lightning.
Well, we'll get to that.
So yeah, they got these arcing transformers when they get out there, and then they find, when shit starts to get serious, they see what can only be described as like it's a UFO. Like, they see it's sitting in the field. There's like smoke around it. And like from their vantage point in the woods, they can see figures exit this craft and stand directly outside of it. And they seem to be, I mean, one of the brothers in the video, makes the comment that these creatures or these figures have some sort of like device which emits some type of, it looks like a laser. It's very much a laser.
It's like a really skinny lightsaber.
It looks like one of those powerful like laser pointers. Usually they're green or whatever, but it's a red one.
Purple. Dan had a purple one that would burn you.
That was that was a sick one. That was fucking great.
But yeah, it was.
Yeah. So they're looking down, they see the ship, and inside the ship, they like kind of see maybe something moving around, and all of a sudden the figures exit the craft with their little laser. It's a laser. It's like a laser scalpel almost. And it looks like,
that's exactly what it looks like, because these creatures seem to be using it to, perform cattle mutilations. Cause there seems to be a dead cow on the ground that they are cutting up, or they are pointing the laser at, and you can kind of hear a little bit of like a burning cutting sound and things like that. And one of the brothers goes on and says, it's cutting up the cattle.
And if you think about it, some of the cattle mutilation, things we've seen, and, the images of these cows that have seemingly like their flesh and stuff just peeled like clean off the bone.
Right.
A tool like this makes perfect sense, right?
Well,
Like
I don't like. It's weird though. Like if it's powerful just to cut through the skin like that, you think it's gonna fucking cut through the bone too.
Dude, I was
maybe,
thinking
right?
the same thing. Like if you have that powerful a laser that can slice through your skin, why is it stopping before it
Okay,
gets
you
through
would
the
think
bone?
what are those saws they use to cut casts that don't cut your skin? You know what I mean? If you get a cast on your arm and they go to saw it off, they use that saw that doesn't cut through your skin.
Well, I think
Well, I mean, if
will
you
burn
put it
you.
on your skin directly and going like this, it's gonna cut your skin.
Because it's not like a saw blade. It's like a vibrating. It doesn't have teeth, but it cuts
Yeah.
through the fiberglass. And if it hits your skin, it might burn you a little bit, but it's not going to like cut you right away.
So what I'm saying is, I'm just saying maybe we're not giving these UFOs enough credit. Maybe this
more
powerful being
advanced.
has something like that where it's like it's only set to whatever for flesh.
Right.
When it hits something like calcium or bone, it doesn't react. Doesn't have the same reaction.
You said it. What you
And
said.
that makes sense. Like to me, what it looked like it looked very surgical to me. Obviously, we didn't get a good view of it though. You know what I mean? Like it looked very, like they looked like it didn't necessarily look like a mutilation as opposed to maybe they were trying to eviscerate it. You know what I mean? Pull out the organs or, maybe they were looking for something.
Looked like a dissection more.
That's the vibe I got from it. But
Right. So I get that. I get it.
These creatures seem to be performing some sort of experiment or dissection on a cattle that is out in front of their craft, and the three brothers are witnessing this, and they're understandably freaking out. And then one of the creature holding the instrument pops its head up and then seems to see them, and then points the device at them, where one of the brothers cries out in pain of some sort, and then they take off running.
That's equivalent to like if me and Andrew like we're in a field with primitive tools and we're like, hey, let's cut open this animal to see what's in, and then someone startled us and we just threw whatever tool we're using at the people and hit them with like that's essentially what
but they
done.
didn't scream. We would have screamed as we saw this.
Yeah. I just and flashed it at them, but it seemingly hits him in the hand. Like he's hurt.
Right. So when they get back to the house, he's holding his hand, and it's describing some type of pain that he's experiencing from seemingly contact with that instrument or whatever, the beam from that object.
Right.
So they get back to the house, and then what happens is there's this very shortly after, like they're trying to describe to the other family members about what they saw. They saw something out there.
A fucking alien. It shot this guy in the hand with a laser.
Right.
And they're like, oh,
I don't know how you explain to your family members that, but they try to do their best.
Yeah.
To say that I got shot in my fucking hand by a laser beam from a goddamn alien. Like,
Yes. Believable story. Okay, sure, bro. Yeah. Okay.
And shortly after this happens, there seems to be this high frequency sound that seems to be coming from one of them, kind of like it seems to be coming from inside the house, or at least in a centralized location of the house. And the frequency sound, like it is painful to everyone in the house. If you watch closely, though, you can see that the youngest girl, the daughter,
she's unaffected.
Seems unaffected. She's not covering her ears. Like the adults in the room are all kind of covering their ears, groaning in pain and whatever. And it seems to be, it's definitely something that is uncomfortable to say the least.
It
about
seems
what is
to be
happening
like
to them.
growing.
It's interesting too, because you'd think like, you know what I mean? As the older you get, the worse your hearing gets, right? And she's the only one unaffected by this fucking high pitched sound.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's so, I don't know. That was kind of confusing to me, but like that also kind of reminded me of the infrasound. You know what I mean? Like we kind of touched on that on Dyatlov Pass, like that, that deafening sound that made you go crazy. Right.
Right. So, I mean, we've talked about that in infrasound and things like, there's a theory that it's in, Bigfoot is able to do this, that there's also evidence that supports
Bigfoot screams infrasound.
Well, there's also evidence to support, and I'm not sure
love that
if it's 100%, but some predators do that as well. I think tigers are one of the natural predators that are known for using infrasound to kind of like stun their prey. if for a second, for like a moment.
So infrasound is like a super low sound, almost inaudible, right? And then you have like an ultrasound, which is
high,
which is a very high pitched.
Oh, so Bigfoot
piercing. So whatever's happening,
so low,
whatever's happening to these people, it seems like as you watch it seems like it starts growing in intensity to the point where like they're like on the ground, like grabbing their ears, like they can't take it anymore. Except for the girl, it's almost like either she can't hear it, or like the sound is maybe not even coming from from outside. Maybe they're hearing it, they're experiencing it internally.
And you know what? And the thing is, here's what this just popped into my head now. But like, you know how like when you're young, you can have fucked up hearing and shit, and you like get tubes in your ears and stuff. So maybe it has something to do with like, you know what I mean? Maybe we don't know the family history very well.
Right.
So like maybe the daughter has some sort of
deaf?
hearing.
She's deaf?
No.
Is that what you're asking?
But maybe I don't know. Maybe she can't hear the tone or something. I don't
She's
know.
got
So
ear infection that's preventing her
Maybe.
from hearing.
No, maybe because most humans hear between like 40 hertz to 18,000, right? But maybe she has like it could be that she has like a hearing impairment where she maybe doesn't hear the high frequencies as much. Maybe it cuts off at 6 or 8,000 or something. She doesn't hear the high pitch.
Or maybe they're purposely not affecting her for a reason.
That's
maybe.
very possible. That's a very good point.
Because I got theories as we continue. I'm going to merge a couple theories here, but for now, we'll keep moving.
Yeah. So this definitely appears, or the oldest brother, at least, or the two older brothers, kind of take this as some sort of aggressive move by these, their ETs, for lack of a better word, or whatever, like just to simplify it. These things are, they believe that something is going on and that these creatures are probably out to get them. So the one older brother, of course, what do? You grab your closest roll of electrical tape and you duck and you tape your flashlight onto your shotgun. That's what you do, as you do, I suppose. And of course, the mom asks, like, her very first question is not a concern about these aliens and what we're going to do, but what about the food? Because they're all getting ready to go. They're like, the brothers are convinced that they should leave. Like I think they're all pretty much decided, like, we need to go.
Yeah, we got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
We need to get out of here. And the mom, it says, what about the food? And that is a ridiculous question.
Dude, it's Thanksgiving dinner.
There's also aliens.
It's Thanksgiving dinner. You got mashed potatoes, you got the turkey, the stuffing.
I mean,
what about it? Yeah,
let's eat it.
We're gonna turn off the stoves. Like what?
Fucking takeout. What are you doing? Grab some handfuls, stuff them in your pockets.
You got one last meal before you get shredded by alien lasers.
Quickly make some turkey sandwiches. That's all the fixins.
To be fair, mom's been dipping into the wine.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Yeah. That is definitely
courage.
Noticeable throughout this found footage, is that the mom is, you will not see her without a wine glass in her hand.
I didn't notice it until someone mentioned in our little group chat. They're like, what about the mom with the wine glass? And I went back. I was like, yeah, you're right. She never, every time you see her, she's like swirling a wine glass.
Like this found footage was ahead of its time. It was ahead of the Blair Witch Project, and it was ahead of Trailer Park Boys Julian. This is where obviously they got inspiration for Julian always having a rum and coke.
She didn't spill a drop.
Not a drop.
I never.
I mean, shit hits the fan, as we're going to get to. But
her glass is never goes down, and you never see her fill it. So,
now the brothers go outside because they've decided we need to leave at this point, and they go outside to start the cars. They get out to the cars. Of course, batteries are dead, and this is
not just
we mentioned about this and other things.
Melted.
Well, I don't know if they were melted, but the batteries were definitely dead.
No, dude.
He popped the hood and they were melted.
Just like the fuse box, the actual battery looked like it had been like it exploded.
Okay.
Struck by lightning. Obviously.
Yeah, so the car. So now you have the house power knocked out. Their escape vehicle. What kind of vehicle was it? Was it like a Ford Bronco or something? Or?
Yeah, it looked like an old fucking camper special.
Yeah. Anyway, so house fried, house circuit board fried, car battery fried in similar fashion.
Right. So they at this point they try to start going back in the house, and then you see this something, like they can see something on the roof. Is it they can hear it on the roof? Or they go back inside and they can hear something on the roof.
Yeah, the pitter patters.
Yeah, but and then they get eyes on it though. We definitely see it.
So you see it for like a flash. They see a flash because they run outside. Big Bro's got his electrical tape flashlight,
MacGyvered.
tactical shotgun. Goes outside to get a good look at the roof and see what's out there. And Camera Boy goes with him, and you see something go inside. You see just the flash of something go inside one of the attic windows.
Yeah.
On top of the house.
And at that point in time, I think we can all agree is when you burn the fucking house down.
Yeah.
That's it. Just burn down. It's fucked. It's
That's
gone.
when you run.
Yeah,
completely justifiable.
Yeah. Torch it. Whoever's in it, sorry, you got to go to.
But yeah, think about that though. You're in the house and you're like, I think it's on the roof. Like, no, it's a good idea. Run out of the house with the camera and the shotgun to film the roof. Madness. Fucking madness.
You know what though? Here's the thing. If this was us and we had a camcorder and a shotgun, are you telling me we're not going outside to try to get a shot of this thing?
Andrew's in the closet.
Yeah.
Brain's in the
100%.
closet. Zell's in the closet. Dan's in the closet. No one's leaving.
Yeah, nobody's going anywhere.
Dan's duct taped the camcorder and the flashlight to the shotgun.
Yeah,
that's smarter. Actually,
that makes sense.
That's a little. Then you know what you could duct tape the camera to the top of the shotgun. Duct tape the flashlight to the bottom. So as you look down the shotgun, you got a perfect field of view. You can see the barrel. You got it all covered in one fell swoop.
So it goes through one of the windows. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not 100% sure it led into the attic as opposed to led into one. I think it actually led into one of the bedrooms.
It looked like a
upstairs.
dormer. So in the upstairs of a house, like there's a certain style of framing which allows like you to build rooms into the attic. It's called a dormer.
Okay.
So it looks like it's part of the roof. And that's what it looks
like. Looked like a window for ants. It was tiny.
Yeah. So it had a little dormer window and it looks like the alien, like the ET enters the house through that small window in the roof.
Right. So they have some idea of where it is. So Big Bro and Camera Boy and other brother, they all go upstairs because they can kind of hear it like moving around upstairs. And they get up the stairs to the second level of the house, and the window, I suppose, or at least where they think it is, it's at the very end of the hallway, and there's a closed door at the end of the hallway. So they're kind of all creeping up onto it. When suddenly you see that same beam, that same instrument or whatever,
the red beam
come through the door, and Big Bro just pulls a trigger on that thing and shotguns that door real quick.
Fuck yeah!
It was no hesitation. The light came in,
right,
and now bang down the hallway.
Right, puts a hole in that door. Then something really strange happens.
It does.
Where it's that everyone, you're pretty sure that you shot something through that door, and everyone just seems to well, the creepiest thing is that the youngest daughter says, "We all need to go downstairs now." Like
the daughter that was immune to the fucking sound.
It sounds like the girl from Resident Evil. You're all going to die down here. That's what it kind of reminded me of. This like, okay, freaky little girl.
Another thing to mention about this little girl. So not only is she affected by the sound, and she's the one that's telling everybody to go down, but this entire time, everybody's shitting their pants, and she's just like fucking mellow.
Just like
cool as a
smiling
cucumber
the whole time.
Not stressing out, totally relaxed. Like, mommy, I want some water. Like that type of shit. Like just chill.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So
it's weird.
Everyone seems to forget right there that they shotgunned a fucking alien through the door, and they all just go back downstairs.
Yeah.
Totally. Just everybody just goes downstairs. And
but could this be, if we know there's potentially others around, could this be some sort of maybe defense mechanism of like say if, let's just put yourself in the position of this creature, say you get wounded, maybe they have sort of some defense mechanism where they can do some sort of fucking psychic blast to make you forget about what just happened. So you're kind of like confused and you're like, oh, let's go back. So you forget about it for a second, giving it a chance to escape, or right. I'm just spitballing here ideas of why that would happen.
Or maybe they thought, they're like, fucking rights, we got that cocksucker. Let's fucking chill.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the one thing that bothers me is there was no one-liner after. That was bullshit.
Gotcha,
That was
motherfucker.
Yeah,
that was
keep
a
the
big thing.
change. Something
Well,
like that. You know?
at the the TV special, post production, they say that the footage that is within there's a small frame of time, there's a small time frame between that shotgunning of the door and then them
Continuation.
returning to the downstairs, where there is like a kind of chunk of time that's kind of missing, or that the footage was like pretty messed up at some point. They're saying that they cleaned it up later, and there's just like a footage of them where some stuff happened, but nobody really seems to remember it in the rest of the video.
Exactly.
Like the people don't really remember it.
The whole time of the video, it keeps like in the found footage, claimed found footage, the video would go like, it goes static, like goes white noise between scenes and like at random times. And they say during that time Dan was talking about is it goes like, it does that for like 3.5 minutes straight. It's inaudible and you can't see anything. And they're saying that's why that they don't really talk about the shot alien, I guess.
Well, and like maybe, like Braden was touching on, like maybe whatever melancholia that's affecting the fucking little girl is, they branch it out and it affect everybody else with it. You know what I mean? Like once they realize that they're capable of retaliating and becoming hostile, they just cause that whatever calm that's happening to that little girl.
Well, and we're not the only ones who notice that eerie calm. Like the child psychologist that they bring in who's watching the footage is very intrigued by this little girl throughout, like, and her level of calmness.
Dude, my kid drops a fucking popsicle on the ground and meltdown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this little girl's dealing with fucking aliens and shotguns and laser beams and shit. And she's just like, it is what it is.
I wondered if it was so surreal right away that she was in some sort of heightened state of shock, that she was just like, and that's just how the shock was coming through, was just like eerie. No, it didn't. But like, I'm just trying to figure out why you could just be so seeing like all the adults freaking the fuck out. And you're just kind of like,
I mean, like, be honest with, like, remember when you touched on her ears and you're like, we don't have any medical information. There might be a chance maybe she's on the spectrum or something like that.
That would make sense.
Maybe.
Like there could, but that, we've never.
Like, unfortunately, we don't know and we can't find out.
So now after they all return downstairs, things get a little bit more intense. Like after they've, they seem to have put some buckshot into one of these aliens. You get this thing, which it seems almost like when you kind of group all the things that happen in a short period of time, it only seems like some type of psychic attack. Like they all start having spontaneous nosebleeds, and then almost immediately, but there's no real, like they don't really have any signs of like anything. There's no pain or anything. Everybody's noses just kind of start bleeding, and then right after that, you get this blue ball, this fluorescent, intense blue ball of light enter in through one of the windows and kind of cruise around the room until it smacks until it collides with one of the
sisters,
the sisters, and then downs her, and she just gets.
That's the
boom.
thing. That's one of the things I noticed is so when they all, the first is the sister, like, hey, your nose is bleeding. She's like, what? She like does the classic, like touch her nose. But it looks like in the video, and then everyone starts touching their face and all their noses, and it all looks like I'm pretty sure it's as far as I could tell, it was everyone's left nostril. It looked very uniform. Like everyone's left nostril just started, not like a massive nosebleed, just like a trickle down the lip. And everyone's just like, oh, what? But that's a very familiar story with a lot of UFO. Like if you go look into like UFO abductions, people claim like some type of like nasal implant or like something like that.
Well, that's I was thinking that too, Zell, but then I was wondering in my head, are we thinking that that's something? Because right away I thought maybe it was from the noise attack earlier had done something, and it was just seeing the effects now. But if we're talking about nasal implant, did they get nasal implanted at this moment, like in this evening, or is there a potential that this family has been targeted and has been visited throughout, and they just don't remember any abductions, right? And they've maybe all been implanted, and they're just all being collected at this point.
Well, there was like other UFO abductees as like witness experts in the film, and they're claiming the same thing, like stuff like that, like the nose implants. A lot of people are saying in that they had been either abducted before, and that's why they just don't remember, or maybe they had missing time and something happened to them then, and that's why they don't remember shooting the alien. And it was just kind of like something happened. They shot the alien. The aliens had they froze. They do whatever they do for like you to miss time, or they freeze time, whatever the fuck they're doing. And they did something to them all there, or they've been targeted UFO abductees in the past. They just don't remember.
I mean, like the vibe I got from when I was watching this, like, and I could be completely wrong, but we're not really going to know if I'm wrong, but I feel like the only reason they even had an interaction with the alien is because they saw what the aliens were doing to the fucking cows. You know what I mean? Like I didn't get the vibe that the aliens were there for them.
Yeah,
it's true.
No, that's true. That's a very good point.
I mean, I think the aliens were just trying to clean up some loose ends. They're like, oh fuck, well,
they saw us fuck on those cows. No witnesses.
yeah, that's the way she goes, man.
So now, after these intense experiences that the family has, the two oldest brothers decide to go out to do something. I'm not quite sure.
Sorry,
like in the film.
Dan, I just want to interject while I have this idea in my head, just to touch on what Andrew said. Let's say for a second that, you know, these alien races that are out there, there is some sort of like non-contact treaty with Earth. Like they all have a pact of like, you are not to communicate, you are not to go down there, you're not to interfere, like a non-interference clause. So these ones are like essentially like intergalactic poachers. And if the word gets out that, you know, our descriptions that gets found out by other races, right, they could be in a lot of heat.
Right.
Black market beef.
So
like
they're
extraterrestrial black market.
So they're
beef.
straight up, like you said, Andrew. They're cleaning up loose ends because, you know, maybe like, you know, they're breaching this treaty that sometimes we've talked about.
They're there for that white gold, baby. That milk.
Okay, there's one thing we actually skipped over really quick because Dan said it, and then I went back to the theory. The blue light that was floating around the house that seemed to enter
Tinkerbell.
that girl and knock her out.
You mean Tinkerbell was fucking ripping around?
Yeah, like a little glowing blue orb was bouncing around the house and then proceeded to slam itself into the one sister's chest and knocked her down and unconscious, right?
Yeah.
So what was like that looks like an orb. It looks like an orb UFO. Like people see this orb bouncing around randomly. That's
right.
kind of
So
what
some of
like.
the people who have described maybe in I know people have talked about them in, you know, you see these things in forests or you see them sometimes like above houses or like in some places, probably in like urban areas or things like that. You see these orbs, which, you know, potentially are some sort of either, you know, scouting device or something like that. But the fact that it is some sort of, I guess it would be some type of like guided or directed energy weapon is what it kind of seems like, because if it's downing people, it's definitely not solid. So you know, it collides with her and then disappears and then she's unconscious on the ground.
So it could be like something controlled by the ETs, some type of drone or weapon of some kind, possibly.
Right. That's what it seems like anyways.
So then
after the blue
Dan,
light thing,
just before we get to that, after the orb, and then the brothers proceed to go outside, and we're going to get to that immediately after we restock on a couple beers. We'll be right back.
Man, that sunset is gorgeous.
Grill, patio, sunset. Hard to get better than that. Unless you're browsing Carvana's inventory while you soak it all in.
Oh, burger time.
So sit back, get comfortable. Carvana's got thousands of cars under $20,000 just waiting for you.
I could stay here forever.
Carvana, where car buying meets comfort, meets convenience. Download the app or visit Carvana.com today.
Man, that sunset is gorgeous.
Grill, patio, sunset. Hard to get better than that. Unless you're browsing Carvana's inventory while you soak it all in.
Oh, burger time.
So sit back, get comfortable. Carvana's got thousands of cars under $20,000 just waiting for you.
I could stay here forever.
Carvana, where car buying meets comfort, meets convenience. Download the app or visit Carvana.com today.
And we're back. So now, picking up from where we left off, at this point, I think we've already established the fact that the brothers don't really give a fuck at this point. Like everybody, they seem to be looking for any reason to get out of the house when it's like instinctively, or I would think logically, you'd want to stay inside the house at this point.
This seem safer.
But the two older brothers decide to, take their tactical electrical tape flashlight shotguns outside and run outside to do something. I'm not like when I watched it, I'm pretty sure I don't remember them really mentioning a reason as to why they're going out. They just kind of work themselves up into like
we're going to get these guys. We're going to get them. Let's go. Pretty much like running outside.
Yeah. So they pump themselves up and they bolt out into the dark of night with their shotguns and, telling everybody else to stay in the house. And within minutes in the found footage, within minutes, you hear
shots,
a volley of gunshots. Like you hear a bunch of gunshots.
Yeah.
Right.
Shit's popping off outside.
Yeah. And then the gunshots stop. And there's no word or no sign of the two older brothers from then on.
Gone.
You don't hear anything, right? They hear the gunshots. I think I lost count exactly, or I didn't count exactly how many shotguns they had. I know the two brothers had two.
I believe that's all they had.
One each. And then there was one more, right? I think the sister had a shotgun too.
I thought maybe she just had one of their shotguns at one point, but maybe she had one as well. Unclear exactly how many they had.
Yeah. How many weapons that they had inside this house. So, they all run outside after the gunshots go quiet. They're out there calling the names of the two brothers. One of them's Kurt, I believe. One's like Kurt. And, mom's out there being dragged along by the little girl. And, that mom, wine glass still in hand.
With wine.
You're talking about Julian.
Julian's mom.
And I've been thinking about this on the beer break. Say you're stressed. Say you're just really stressed and you have a glass of wine and something like this happens. Is it so much because we never see her refill it? I wonder if it's just one of those nervous energy things where it's like it's in her hand and it's nervous and then all this stuff's going on. And it's like, I had this when all my world was rocked. And now it's just is part of me because I don't know what to do with it.
She's just clutching it because she is part
just
of
like death grip of just like I don't know what to do. Like
it's her safe
don't know what
space
to do with my
some
hands.
sort of shot. I'm gonna hold this coffee, this wine glass for the rest of the time.
This glass of red wine is the only thing keeping my shit together right now.
In the scenes where you don't see her, she's just constantly filling up that glass. It's Thanksgiving. Yeah. She's probably got like 10 bottles on the counter.
Oh man, she was hammering those back too.
She's like, if I'm going out, I'm going out wasted.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It's true.
The family gets back inside the house. So now minus the two brothers that have gone out and suddenly disappeared. And then what happens is that the two sisters, or like with one sister and the girlfriend, they start developing they start experiencing these burning sensations on the back of their necks, like in the neck areas, like on their shoulders a little bit in the back. And, they turn to show the camera that they have these what seem to be like a red welts on their backs.
Yep.
And the daughter, creepily enough, is the youngest one is saying, the burning will stop. It'll stop in a minute, right? As they're,
she knows
serious discomfort. So it's like she knows.
I mean, at this point, just fucking throw her outside. just fucking. She's not up to anything good.
One of the experts that they had on this show, post production, the experts to break down the film and analyze the film for the audience is our homeboy, R.I.P. Stan Freeman.
Yep,
is on there. So he's on there as well, and he throws out this theory that these red welts are, it's one of those experiences or one of those, things in the UFO community. Abductees explain or describe having these implants placed inside of them. He says it could perhaps, these things function as a type of transponder, tracker, or, biometric
similar to
sensor.
A boat.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
What?
I mean,
he said that
sure.
and I went, huh?
What do you mean?
What the fuck does that mean?
Transponder.
That's what
Elaborate
he
on that a little
said.
bit.
It's similar to
All
a
I'm
boat.
saying is this is what he said in the documentary.
Oh, I see.
He
Okay,
goes,
okay.
similar to a boat. And then I was listening and I went, oh, yeah. And then I went, huh?
Eh?
What do you mean
they
a
got
boat?
hit by a boat on the back of their neck that left a red mark? Like,
No, the transponder.
The transponder was like activated or something, and they all started feeling the burning sensation on the back of their necks.
Similar to a boat.
Similar to a boat made no real reference to actually what was happening in the episode.
That's going to be my new thing. Whenever Dan's explaining something a little too complex for me, I'm going to go, oh, yeah, similar to a boat.
And I'm going to immediately say yes.
And I'll be like, all
Say
right.
yes.
And I'll give a
much.
good nod. All right, I understand now.
Dude,
Similar to a boat.
and similar to a boat, these transponders in their neck, along with their nasal implants, seem to be both correlated to other abduction phenomenon. So like maybe an implant in the base of the neck, like in the spine almost. So that's where they were all like touching in the film. They're all like,
Yeah.
Like, do we know what shape they were? Were they like triangles or something like that? Because haven't we heard about triangle marks on the back of people's necks before?
they look triangular. From the grainy footage, it looks triangular, but it could be more of like, I don't know, it's tough to tell, I guess, but.
So now, after they have these experiences, the burning sensations stop. They all start going back into freak out mode. They run outside looking for the older brothers. They're going to attempt to try to get into one of the cars. I think the older sister at this point is like, we need to get out of here. We need to get into one of the trucks. We need to leave. So they go back to inspect another one of the trucks, or one of the older brothers' trucks. Immediately when they go outside, there seems to be a melted shotgun standing up on the porch. I'm not like laying down on the porch like somebody dropped it, but
Propped.
it's like right on the porch, like leaning up against one of the posts.
Like whatever happened to it, immediately after it happened, whoever did it just seemed to prop it up in perfect position.
You got to send a message.
Yeah.
Be like, I can't have these guys not seeing this melted ass shotgun. They got to know that we can melt shotguns.
And then, they go back outside, and then they get to one of the vehicles and they open up the door. And there's the other shotgun that one of the other brothers was carrying, apparently, or that's what they identify it as. And that one has been completely melted. The cameraman, I think is it Mike?
No, it's Tommy, isn't it?
Tommy,
Tommy
Tommy.
McPherson.
Tommy McPherson, it remarks on how it seems that it's been completely melted and it's just sitting in the front seat of the truck.
Yeah, they're all trying to, like, at this point, they're freaked out. They're like, we're out of here. Finally, they decide to leave. But the brothers who initially went out to see the melted battery are gone. So they don't know the battery is gone, but they go back to the truck, and in the front seat of the truck is another melted shotgun.
Right. The camera, they see this suddenly, like right across the way, either like on this, it's on the side of the house or on the side of like what is like the garage, I think, of that's next to the house, like a part. It's like I think the garage is separate from the house. And then on the other side of the garage, there's kind of like some forest that comes up to it. And then you see this sudden kind of like red light turn on within the woods. And then you see those creatures, you see these figures, multiple of them, at least 3, I think, start to move forward through the woods. And so that causes, a bit of a shock to the to the people outside, and they all bolt back inside into the house.
Now, have we described that these aliens are the typical alien grays? Have we even described that yet? So that's what they are. They look like little 4-foot gray aliens with the black almond eyes. It's a typical gray is what they're portrayed as.
Very typical description that many abductees give you, or that people would describe as grays, or as almost, or zeta reticulans as well. I think it kind of fits the profile.
Hill,
These large-headed, no nose, really, just slits in the slits for nostrils and mouth, and large black eyes.
Yeah.
They seem to be wearing some type of black outfit, like it's almost like a black one piece of some type.
It's tight though.
It's tight.
Oh, here we go again.
Here we go on the fucking
Jesus
juicy cheeks.
Christ.
Oh, great.
Ready?
I didn't say
Get that drool off your chin, buddy.
You said no one said anything about the suits. He said, "Yeah, tight suits."
Well, I was just making an observation.
That's fair. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We'll take it.
So the family retreats back inside the house. You get this very much because at this point it's a 45-minute special, so it's almost over at this point. You get Tommy retreating to one of the bathrooms, and you get a bathroom confession from Tommy about how he is afraid and how he feels like this is the end. This will be their last. This is his last will and testament, so much, right?
It's his death tape. Like, okay, this has happened. Like, if you watch this, we're dead. Pretty much is what he's saying.
He picks up the camera and he moves into what is one I suppose is one of their rooms. He goes inside.
I thought it was a bathroom.
No, he leaves the bathroom. When he leaves the bathroom, he goes
yeah.
into another bedroom outside. I think the bathroom is on the second floor, and he goes into this room and he kind of takes the camera and it pans it around, going back to totally, completely all the way around the room until he gets to the door from where he came in. And then from behind the door emerges one of those creatures. And then
fade to black.
Like it's like you see the creature like reach up towards the camera. It's got it seems to have like 2 fingers and a thumb, and you see it reach up towards the camera and like either it takes the camera or the camera falls to the ground, and you can kind of just see Tommy like just within frame, and he's just frozen, like not moving at all.
Yep.
And then the camera goes blank after that.
And the McPherson's family was never heard from again.
Now, looking at that, I was curious because I was like, okay, well, it seemed like he was frozen. Why all the games? Like then it kind of seems like to me, like if they have that power over people, what was everything prior? Were they toying with him a little bit? Like, were they not sure if they were going to take him? Maybe not until they got shot at. Was then it like an act of war or something? Because I found it quite interesting that I was like, well, why didn't they just freeze him freeze everyone right away?
No fun. That's no fun.
Yeah. I think gotta play with your food.
I think more just they're fucking with them.
So now I remember watching this, and I remember this film very, very clearly, or very nearly giving me. I was never prone to nightmares as a kid, but this one probably kept me up later than usual because I could not sleep. Like I was still freaked out from watching this video that was claimed to be real footage of, an alien abduction taking place.
And not just an alien abduction, like an alien tormenting a family throughout a night. Right. Fucking nuts.
And you guys had never seen this before, right? Like you never, when I brought this up, like you guys had no idea what it was.
Yeah. I'd heard of the McPherson tapes.
Yeah. I just heard that, just like, you guys should talk about the McPherson tapes. And I went, sure. I don't know what that is, but I'll get to it. And I didn't get to it till this week.
If I would have watched this shit in 1999, around the same time I saw Blair Witch, it would have been the exact same reaction I had from that scary ass movie to this shit. Mm-hmm. Just a lot less snot coming from noses.
That's true.
That's the only thing it was missing. That was terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the only thing these two things have in common though? Is that they'd scare you? What else does this found footage have with Blair Witch Project?
Just the fact that those two were kind of around the same time that they were found footage.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there was anything else like that around. And that was terrifying. The first time seeing a found footage movie was fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like that from that fucking perspective before.
Now, we've talked about the whole film. We've talked about the whole encounter. As it turns out, Dan's going to tell you what's happened here.
Dan's about to give it the old Simpsons treatment.
Well, not exactly. So you guys have referenced this as being, you guys have referred to this video as being the McPherson tapes. And so originally this thing was titled when it aired on UPN January 20th, it was titled Alien Abduction Incident in Lake County.
Right.
Now, the McPherson tape is an actual film.
It is actual found footage.
Right. It is actual found footage film, and it is the McPherson tape was filmed in 1989, and it depicts very similar events to what happened in alien abduction incident at Lake County.
So almost 10 years before.
You're telling me what I just watched didn't prove to me that Sloan from Entourage is actually a member of the McPherson family. Is that what you're telling me?
It's a reenactment, Andrew. It was a reenactment of a prior original actual found footage that was filmed or found almost 10 years before.
It's
that's
wild though,
interesting.
because they never, especially at the time, they're not saying, "Hey, this is a film. This is make believe." Like
Never says
even the
reenactment.
experts they have come on and
But
give
that's
their
it right
accounts.
there. Like, I don't understand how they get away with that. They have fucking real. Well, I don't think they're real I'm assuming they're fucking
They're
actors.
actors. I bet they're actors now.
Yeah, like, but you know what I mean? Like, how do you get away with that?
I tried to look them up, and I was like, the only person on there that maybe has some credential is Stanton Friedman, and the rest of them, I was like, I have no idea who these people
Couldn't
are.
find them. Yeah.
It could have been anyone.
But Stan
I don't want to
Friedman's
be
a
an
big
asshole,
deal.
but I feel like, well, that's what I don't like. It's obviously like if they're like, yeah, we'll bring in all these fucking actors, then we'll bring in this UFO guy. Yeah, you know, like,
Well, it lends it some credibility.
does it?
Does.
a little bit.
Yeah, because they're like, we recognize this guy from something else,
Yeah, I
related
was
to
like, that guy
UFOs.
talks about on a whole bunch of other UFO things, so it's got to be real. Like, he's a scientist.
He's the only one that was willing to come in as a fucking credible expert and talk on a fucking fake film. Everybody else was like, they probably called real psychologists and shit. Hey, you want to speak on this? You mean speak on this fake fucking reenactment? No, that's okay.
Well, dude,
we'll pass.
they had Stan
Now-
Friedman, who is, I'm pretty sure is Canadian actually. And he's the actual, like, was he not one of the original investigators of Roswell? Isn't that how he's famous?
I can't remember.
I'm
I know
pretty
he busted
sure.
the MJ12 stuff. I remember him doing that.
Yeah, well, the MJ12 stuff that also comes from Roswell, so that makes sense. I'm pretty sure he is like one of the, if not the original, he's one of the first like civilian investigators, and he's like written books, and he was around for so long. So they got.
I mean, he was
he's
a
on it.
pillar of the UFO community. Like, he was a big thing. If you wanted to talk about UFOs, or if you really wanted to have a show about UFOs, it almost like wasn't a show unless Stanton Friedman showed up. Like,
Exactly.
I feel like he's shitting on his own legacy by even coming on that show.
oh, this was kind of just, this is late 90s. So, again, X-Files is in the forefront of the collective consciousness. It's there. UFOs, government conspiracies, all that stuff. Like 90s, the internet was just getting started.
It's getting
really.
ramped
Like, it
up.
was-
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So were you
anything out
thinking
there was
old
good.
Stanto here needed a fucking paycheck, or you think he
Sure.
was buying in?
Maybe.
Like, that's what I don't like, because these guys are.
Hey,
like,
listen, Andrew.
They were really
if they were
trying.
like, if someone contacted you right now, they looked up IMDb, found your IMDb, this guy can act. Wow, look at his credits. Amazing. He's on this podcast called Alien Theorists Theorizing. Hey, Andrew, we're making this remake of a remake called Alien Abduction.
I'll
we
interrupt
want
you
you to
really
come
quick,
on
though.
and give your thing. You would, are you kidding me? You'd be on there hamming it up.
No problem, but the difference between me and him is I'm not some fucking advocate that claims to be a fucking expert and trying to prove the fact that they're real. If you
true.
called me and said, hey, I need you to speak on the profession of fucking paramedicine or some shit like that, you know what I mean? And they're asking me to comment on a bunch of bullshit, I would be like, I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Well, it's true, because was Stan Friedman not some type of like physicist? That was his credentials. Was he not?
Yeah, he was a nuclear
legit.
physicist.
Nuclear.
Like that, and that to me just like, hey, I'm not saying anything ill towards the dead
No.
or anything like that, but that just, to me, that kind of just
It was shady.
paints him in
maybe
kind
when
of
they
a
presented
shitty
it
light.
to him, maybe they said he didn't know all the details when he gave his. Maybe he thought it was actual found footage.
Until he watched Entourage one day and he was like, wait.
It's like when they did, we talked about Alien Autopsy before. Like, they brought in experts, they showed them the video, they didn't really give them any context, they didn't give them anything. They're like, here, watch this video, tell us what you think.
Yeah.
And here's the
That's
thing.
it.
Here's the thing. I'll give Friedman the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I didn't read anything saying that he like disputed anything to do with that, his appearance in that. But maybe they showed him the original footage and he was commenting on that.
And they took it out of context for the remake.
Well, no, and then they show the remake, right? So because that's one thing that we're glazing over to is this is a remake of actual found footage of this tapes called the McPherson tapes. That
why not play if they had the ability to fucking play the real footage, why wouldn't they just play the real footage?
You can go on YouTube or wherever and you can find the original McPherson tapes. And first off, it is fucking gold, Jerry. Gold. It is the first, like within the first 5 minutes, they have one brother who obviously I've never seen anyone. If we were hanging out and one of you guys held the camera and was just filming us, I'd be like, all right, man, like why are you filming everything? Like put your camera down. They're filming, just walking through the woods, and the one brother turns, he goes, Mom's drinking again. And he goes, is she? And he goes, she is. She's drinking a lot. You don't live here.
Drunk.
You wouldn't know. She's drinking a lot, which is what I'm thinking is where they got the wine glass mom from. All right.
Yep.
But in the same context, they go into the woods and they see these creatures. The creatures don't shoot a beam at them. The creatures just look at them and they're like, we got to get out of here. Very similar events happen, right? The creatures on the roof, they shoot the roof. Two brothers go outside. They turn into fucking SWAT commandos inside the house though. They cover me, go to the windows, blast out. They think they got one. At one point, the mom goes, we were supposed to be having a birthday party tonight. And they all go, well, we still can. And they all sit down and have birthday cake in the middle of this alien attack. It's unbelievable. Then they go outside. One of the brothers shoots the alien, like in the reenactment. He carries it in, puts it in the bedroom.
He shot it out. He didn't, like in the reenactment, they shoot it inside. But in this one, in the original found footage, they go outside. He shoots an alien and they proceed to carry it back into the house.
Right.
Not only carry it back in
on the roof, like they shot through the roof and the thing like fell off the roof.
And then he shot it again.
He shot it again.
Oh, he shot it again.
Yeah.
Then he runs in, he grabs a jacket and he says, I got that motherfucker. Sprints back out. And everyone's like, oh no, go outside. And he comes back in carrying this alien as if it was an old friend injured in war, covered, like wrapped in the jacket as if it was cold. For some fucking reason.
Bringing in a wounded alien.
No idea. It is phenomenal. Like the footage is very wild. Same thing. You know, one of the daughters passes out. But luckily she gets back up and manages to finish her card game with the mom because they were in the middle of playing cards, waiting for the men to get back. They were playing Go Fish and she passes out, has a bit of a seizure, wakes up and she goes, what kind of card? Whoa, you had a seizure? That's weird. What card do you want? And she's like, oh, I don't know. Do you have a 6?
Go fish.
Go fish. The whole time I was just like, holy, what the fuck?
That's because that
is wild.
That was, they lost time. That was part of the abduction. That's why that happened. They came to, continued their game.
They have, there's a great line in it that I loved where they say one of the guys who saw the aliens comes back and goes, we saw some Martians or some shit. And one of his wives goes, and I quote, what are you guys are talking about? Just like that. What are you guys are talking about? To them freaking the fuck out. And one of the other brothers just screams at the top of his lung, shut up! Everyone, shut up! Shut up! No one's talking. There's no one talking but him screaming, shut up. It's a hot
hearing things.
It's a hot mess for an hour and 2 minutes.
Right.
Of just awkward conversations. But it ends with you see these 3 grays walk into the shot. One looks at the camera and it goes fuzzy.
And the McPhersons were never heard of again.
And this was filmed in 1989. And from 1989 for 5 years, right, Dan? 5 years?
Yeah, in the early 90s, a few years after this video got to VHS and got to full production finished, there was a time when it had made it all the way to an international UFO conference, and it had been presented as definite proof of aliens abductions of aliens. Like this for about 5 years or more. Like it was going around UFO circles, and people were saying this is proof that aliens are here, and they're
not even just
doing
proof.
something.
They said the best evidence.
This is the best. All the top UFOologists are saying in the early 90s, the McPherson tapes are the best. So alien abduction, the Lake County incident is a reenactment based off this found footage presented as fact, but based off this found footage of these actual McPherson tapes that were found and circled around the UFO community.
Well, the McPherson tapes, I know people call them McPherson tapes, but I think the original title was UFO abduction. That's just what the title was. And then the McPherson tapes are what they call it in the UFO circles because that was the name of the family.
Yeah. The family that disappeared. Yeah.
Right. The original title was UFO abduction, but you would only know that because before this film had been circulated through the UFO communities, somebody had cut out the beginning and the end credits
of
this film
called Alien or UFO Abduction, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have known that unless that's why people called them McPherson tapes, because they're referring to the family, and then in the film, but the actual title was UFO Abduction.
Okay, wait. So we have a 1998 reenactment of the
remake
of the 89
found footage from 89,
the McPherson tapes,
is actually a movie.
May have been a movie with the credits cut out, which we'll get to it. But so we're back that maybe the found footage perhaps was a production as well.
Well, we would know that if you asked Dean Alioto, who was the director of both films.
Wait,
man, I'm having flashbacks of alien abduction all over here.
It's very similar. Like
no,
it's very
alien
similar.
abduction was fucking real. I told you this last time.
No, we took a poll. You guys lost.
By how much?
By a lot. Landslide.
How much?
Huge.
Really?
Huge.
That's bullshit.
I didn't even see no.
I didn't even look at that.
Huge.
We're not making it up when we're saying that the 1989 McPherson tapes. Someone had snipped the beginning and snipped the end and had circled it. Now, why wouldn't everyone, like someone in the UFO community must have been like, wait a minute, I've seen this movie because it was wide released.
No,
it was
actually, it wasn't wide released because originally when Dean Alioto made a deal with a production company and a distribution company to distribute his film, which he had made on a budget of about let's see what he said, like $6,500 US was his budget.
And you can tell.
After he made the deal for distribution and final production, he sold them the master copy and all that, and the copies that they had ready to go out for wide release, the warehouse where they were stored caught on fire, burned down, bankrupted the company. And so none of the videos from that warehouse made it out, except some actually made it to very few, like mom and pop video stores, before there was all just only Blockbuster or wherever, there was a
Rogers,
couple,
Rose Video,
Rose
Video. Rose Video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
wait, so this guy made a production, a $6,500 found footage looking video, sold it to a production company with, I think he sold it the master copy, the final edit, the only final edit that they must have copied at least a couple times, and all artwork to this company. And then the warehouse in his words actually literally burnt to the ground. Like the whole place fucking just collapsed because it was fucking scorched.
Right. And he always has his.
And he just assumed he assumed everything was lost.
Yep.
Right. He totally forgot about it. Like he said he went on without his, with his life. He was very set on being a director. If you go through interviews with him, Mr. Alioto, it seems like an okay guy. He idolized, Spielberg, all the who didn't back in the 90s if you wanted to be a director, that he wanted to make this film and make a good film. Cause I think he was like 24 when he made this one.
Yeah. And he wanted to do it just like Spielberg did, by 25, make his first full like feature film kind of thing.
Right. So after that whole thing had literally gone up in smoke, he completely forgot about it until a couple years later that people started contacting him from other TV shows like Hard Copy, if you remember that one, Unsolved Mysteries,
Original.
and another show called Encounters, which I don't really remember ever watching that one. I assume it's something like Sightings. If you ever watch Sightings, kind of the same thing. And they started because they tracked him down because this video had been circulating, that the 1989 original one had been circulating through UFO communities and was being passed off as real
proof.
footage.
Because some editor or something at that production company before it burned down must have made a copy or had a copy, and they ended up just snipping off the credits
and the intro.
And that's what I mean. Like, so there was no credits, nothing else on the film except the found footage looking production, and that was it. And that was then it slowly circulated through the UFO community. And even as far, who was the guy? Like, we had like was it a captain or admiral or someone in the military even claimed like this was the best evidence this was 100% real.
Right. I don't know if he said it was completely real, but a lot of UFO experts came out and said, when they saw this, they're like, this looks pretty legit. This looks all right. The lieutenant colonel you're referring to is Donald Ware. Right. And Donald Ware actually, he said, I guess he's also a prominent figure, or had been a prominent figure in the UFO community. He was not convinced that it was a complete hoax or, a fictional film.
Right.
He didn't fully believe that, or he said he wasn't convinced because he said that he knows that it is government policy to insert disinformation into every major UFO case. So his stance on it was that I'm not 100% sure that this is actually fake because Alioto even said that, people accused him of being like a government plant, of being like, you made this video, or you're saying you made this video, but you didn't really make this video.
That's what I think.
You're just trying to cover up the whole thing. You're part of the
global elite.
Deep state.
That might be part of my conclusion actually tonight. Just saying.
So yeah, so this whole thing is just it's nuts. It's just the whole story behind it. I mean, it's fascinating what actually how this kind of evolved in this. So after these other shows, Unsolved Mysteries, Hard Copy, and whatever, all contacted him about getting this thing. He said that he got I think he was working somewhere, and then someone at Fox kind of got in contact with him and said that we want to make this movie. And actually he was hesitant to remake it. Like they wanted him to do it again, but with a bigger, but like they would give him a real budget, but he was actually hesitant to do that because he's like, I don't really want to do that anymore. That was kind of like early stuff.
Yeah.
I'm working on some other things. And they're like, just walk into the office, blah, blah, blah. And like, he said it was the easiest movie deal he ever made. Walked in there. They said, okay, we're going to give you $1.5 million to go film this in Vancouver.
That's a big budget for like a movie like that. Like that's a full production for that style of movie.
Right. And the one that I had you guys watch on YouTube, that's actually not even the full version. Apparently there's like a 2-hour version. There's like a 2-hour cut.
Oh, really?
The one that originally aired on UPN, that original one was actually edited down from 2 hours.
Oh, so the original one, because in that one you sent us, they would jump like 40 minutes here and 40 minutes there.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's definitely cuts in there. And There's a funny thing, he goes into a couple in his interviews to talk about anecdotes of when the UPN. I kind of remember this because UPN like went downhill really fast. Apparently, it was a TV network, and at one point it just got gutted. Like they fired everybody, and like the only person staying was just like the really big guy in charge. And apparently, he was a big asshole, and like he didn't think that the film was going to do as well as it did. Like it actually was like one of their highest rated airings, like since the network had began. And then they actually added in, like they aired the first one and then they re-aired it later with a little bit of additional footage apparently. And then it garnered even more ratings after that. But the guy was such a dick. Like the head of the network was such a dick that he was just like, fuck you and blah, blah, blah. And then just kind of cut him loose after that. It was just like,
dude, I would have watched if I knew if this came out, something like this came out now, I would 100% watched it. I'd be the early adopter of the film. I'd be in there right away. Guaranteed.
Yeah. One of the funnier things that, like the funnier notes about production is he said that they had to film it with a Canadian crew. So he said that every time they mispronounced words like about and mom and house, they fined him $1. And he's like, I walked away with probably $200.
A boot, mom and hoose.
Hoose.
Like watching it now right away, the one thing that pops up is one of the actresses is Sloane from Entourage. She's a recognizable actress.
Right. In the remake, right?
In the remake,
one of the guys was in X-Men Last Stand too. I recognize him.
Yeah, I thought so too. I couldn't remember. I thought one of the guys looked familiar too. So like watching it now, you're like, oh, right away, this is fake. But these were all unknowns. Right. And like the 1989
they presented
one,
this as truth when it came out. Like they were like, this is actual footage of a da 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 da.
Well, dude, and he wanted to make it. His like idea was when he was like, I got $6,500. He said from like a friend or something. He's like, what can I make? He's like, I want to make like a video version of War of the Worlds, something that could be like presented in a way that would seem so real because it's so low budget and it's done like on like a little handy cam like that it. At first glance, if you had knew nothing of the story, you'd be like, oh, "That's well." It looks like a home video, right? It looks honestly, from watching I watched the entire hour and 2 minutes. I cannot believe that UFO experts watched this and were like, "This is the most piss poor acting I've ever seen in my fucking life." Because, dude, there's some lines in there. There's some like in the original. Where they walk out to the aliens just walk out. First of all, the ship looks like a cardboard something.
Because
like
it was. Like
it doesn't look good.
Literally built half of it. Like there's not even anything on the backside.
It doesn't look good.
The front.
And then the aliens look at them and they go. The guy says, and I quote, "They're looking at us. They're looking right at me. They're looking right at me. We got to get out of here. They saw us. We have to go." Yeah. So then they run back home. That's the quote because I wrote it down because I was like, who talks like that? They get back to the house and they go, "We have to get everyone out of here, guys." Just like that. Then hold on, Dan, 1 second. Then they get guns and they go, "We have to go down and get them. They saw us. You listen to me. I'm in charge of the family now." And I was like, huh? What the fuck is going on? Who talks like that? I was like, why would you have to go down and get them? Because they saw you. What are you doing in the woods? I was like, no one talks like that. I was like, right away, I was like, how the fuck did anyone believe this? I would have been the biggest skeptic now if I saw, I'd be like, all right, no one talking like that. It's stupid.
Yeah, it suffers from that problem that most found footage films, after it posts. I mean, for the time, this was actually pretty high concept. Like this was 10 years before Blair Witch came out and really nailed it with the whole thing. Now you see found footage like all the fucking time, and I'm tired of it. I hate it. Like I like the horror genre, but I can't watch found footage films. Like they fucking suck. They're all pretty bad. But But for this time, it again, you just see the problems of found footage films still in this one, where it's like the guy constantly has the camera up to his like eyeball. You know, it's one of those cameras. It doesn't have. I don't think they had the flip out screens back then. They didn't have those. You know, so he would have to constantly be in the viewfinder or at least holding the camera. But he perfectly centers it on people's faces, and it's like, dude, why are you still holding the camera for like, he would be doing things and it's like, you need both hands to do some of the stuff, or it would be better if you were using both hands. And nobody tells him like put down, they might be like once or twice they tell him to put down the camera, you know?
Right.
And it's like at one point you just like smack it out of his hand and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Dude, in the middle of this, in the middle of the found footage, the mom goes, this was supposed to be a birthday party. And then one of the guys holding a shotgun goes, it still will be. And for the next 10 minutes, there's no reference to aliens. And everyone's just like, oh, it's all good. Like everything's normal. We're having cake. And then they find, I didn't even understand really what happened before. They're like, they're about to leave. They're like, okay, let's go. And then someone hands him a picture and he looks at it and he goes, oh my God, it's one of them. It's what we saw. And it's just someone's drawn a crude drawing of an alien. And I'm like, what
they don't say who drew it. They don't say anything.
They just present the picture like, this is what it looked like. And you're like, huh?
Who drew that? Did one of you draw that? Did the kid draw that? Like, who drew that? And then they go, the whole part where they're playing cards. I'm like, do you people just forget that you have a dead alien in the back of your house? Like you're all just sitting there playing cards and there's a dead alien.
The fact that she has a seizure, gets up and she's like, oh my God, I heard it in my head. And then I was shaking and she goes, okay, that's wow. What card do you want? She's like, oh, 6 of clubs. What the fuck is going on?
It's a pretty
terrible.
Good, it's a fun little rabbit hole. Just the production of both films is pretty interesting and fascinating. And like it's
honestly, I would highly recommend going and watching both of them and and remembering in the back of your mind when you watch the first one, the original found footage, the McPherson tapes, that for 5 years, the greatest minds in UFO research believe this was the best evidence we had of aliens, because when you watch it now, your eyes are gonna roll back into your head,
Undertaker style.
Let's do final thoughts.
Okay, my final thoughts. I feel like this is a topic we decided to do kind of like it's a big part of ufology, like history,
yeah,
and it's I'm still on like the alien autopsy. Hey, that could be something, because it could be based on something we don't know about. But this one, I really tried to go every avenue. Like, was this disinfo? Like, was this like they made a video of the other video, but the original video was never found. It was just 2 remakes. I can't go that way. But I think it's important if you're talking about ufology and like aliens and ET interaction and UFOs, sometimes you have to. This was a giant topic that turned out to be 100% made, like it was fabricated. So it's important to talk about. It's like that. If you're looking for something to be true so hard that something like this could fool some people into, this is possibly the best evidence at the time, like whatever, 20 years ago. And obviously after a few years, they realized like, no, we fucked up. So that it's good to keep an open mind, but be skeptical and dig into the story.
I agree. That was well said, Zell. I totally agree. This needs to be talked about because I think it serves as like a lesson as well as a little bit of a black mark on UFO research. I mean, when you look at these things, I think you have to now, because of things like this, look at it from a skeptical point of view. You have to. You can't just buy in, because we've seen what happens. You buy into something like this, and for 5 years you're going down the avenue of this is real, and then you look like a fool afterwards. Where it's in let's flip it and look at the Tic Tac video, whereas that came out and everyone's like, man, that's pretty convincing. this is pretty good, like very interesting stuff. Then you hear Commander Fravor talking about it, and you're like, all right, I'm more on board. And then they come out and say like, hey, we don't know what that is either. It's straight up UFOs. Like, boom, like that. Like, that's the way the step it needs to be done. We shouldn't be, when stuff like this comes out, and, even, you see people send us all the time UFO footages in Jersey, that turned out to be a blimp, right? Ones in Brazil and stuff. We don't talk about those ones when they first come up because honestly,
we don't know.
So we don't know. And with how if this fooled people then, like, think about what you can do with a camera and, some editing software now.
Yeah. There's like apps you can use. To do that, so.
Yeah. So it's definitely a time you got to look at these things through a skeptic eye, because I believe this was a black mark in like UFO history. Like it's definitely something to be learned from. But even like, like Andrew said, like with Stanton Friedman on there, like it's just this whole debacle. It doesn't look good. I don't think it sits well with a lot of people now.
Well,
this kind of stuff.
I think a lot of those experts probably were misinformed of the origin of the video or of the story, and they were told it's true, so they came at it like it's true, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't have asked more questions maybe.
Well, that's exactly where I was going to go, is the fact that like these guys are professionals. This is your career. This is what you are. You're a ufologist. You're an expert in this. Did any of them think, you know what, maybe we should go to this fucking city or town where this took place? Should we look in to see if this family actually existed? Because if an entire family disappeared, if a family actually disappeared, there would be record. Yeah. There would be police reports. There, you know what I mean? Like you could go in there easily and find out if there was any legitimacy to that fucking situation, which obviously they fucking didn't.
It was scrubbed.
No one did shit.
It was scrubbed by the alphabet agencies. They scrubbed the McPhersons from the record.
So all 8
Such
people.
A poor reflection on this whole genre.
It is. I agree.
It bums me out. I'm buying in. I'm trying to buy in, and then you guys give me this fucking
it's important
alien autopsy shit, and then we're getting this like within fucking 3 case files.
But it's good. It's good to look at these things. So.
Yep, it is.
I guess not for me apparently.
Dan, what do you think?
I thought these were real fun to watch. Like I thought these were.
Oh, they're a great time.
Again, this is almost like a piece of cinema history, because like these were before Blair Witch, before found footage was a big thing, and it was pretty crazy for the time. When I watched it when I was a kid, I was probably like 12 or something, 12, 13. And like this freaked the hell out of me. I was like, this is like aliens coming to my house. I'd read a couple ET encounter books and things. I was into UFOs by the time, by that time I was into that stuff. Yeah. So that is already freaking me out. But you watch these videos, even if you watch the original one where the one Lieutenant Colonel Donald Ware is saying that maybe it is real, and then Elioto is a plant or whatever, planting disinformation about this video, and it's actually real. If you watch it, there's no way it's real.
No,
there's no
human
way.
Beings act like that. Like always having the camera on, always holding it, whatever, like perfectly.
No one has conversations like they do in that movie.
Right. And then when you see the aliens too, like just watch them. I mean, even if you're a creature that is even built similar to humans, I would assume that when you watch them, they turn their whole bodies to look. They don't turn just their neck, because if you're wearing a prosthetic, like you would obviously see it move.
Buddy, so fucking like, Batman 89.
Yeah.
Perfect example. Fucking Keaton.
The cowl. Yeah. You can't turn the neck.
You have to turn your whole body. So just that little detail to me is even like, okay, even if I had known it was fake, I was like, what are their spinal columns like fused? Because that doesn't make any sense because of the way that they're
androids, they're robots.
There's sensory organs, like the way their stuff is things like it would be more efficient just to turn your head and not like you turn your whole body. Even if you're an android, you would still be like, it'd be more efficient to turn even just your eyes. That's how the Terminator does it anyways. You shift eyes first and then you move your head, but whatever. But they're fun to watch. And if you enjoy UFO stuff and things like that, like I would say, watch these. They're on YouTube, like look them up and watch them.
Oh, they're great. They're great. Honestly, I think we should do a shot-for-shot remake of the original.
I would love to see solid evidence of a UFO abduction. I would love to see that. You know, like a real, like this is undisputable proof that, or indisputable proof that.
But don't look at this.
Like, aliens are taking us. But it's like,
there are ones that are way better accounts, but we just don't have video proof of it. Right.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, you know, we have accounts and things like that. I would love to have video, but this is definitely not it. And along with Brayden's point and stuff, like, yeah, I think it's a bit of an embarrassment that some people like try to retroactively in the UFO community saying like, this is just a cover up or it's a government cover. I'm like, no, the dude has pictures of the 8-year-old girls that they hire to put in these costumes. Like he owns those heads. Like he has those.
So can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
What makes the alien autopsy more credible to you guys than this?
The production value is way better.
Well, yeah, but they spent more money.
We don't know how much money they spent.
We do. We talked about it. He talked about the budget that he had for it.
For Alien Autopsy?
Yeah.
That was for the remake of the original, though. We don't know what happened on the original film in the Alien Autopsy. It's 100% real.
All right.
The difference is, Andrew, for me, the difference between this, when you watch it, plays like someone who didn't know how to writing dialogue. There's whole
The other one had no dialogue.
No, but listen, you're not
easier to
okay.
cover up.
Do you want to know? I don't have to talk. You done? Let me finish.
Well,
let me finish my point.
First time that anyone's ever talked over anybody in a podcast, I will shut
Let
the
me
fuck
finish
up.
my point.
I'm apologize.
So when you watch this one, there is enormous holes when you watch the full hour and 2 minutes. You're like, what the fuck is going on? This doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. Whereas when you watch the Alien Autopsy one, if the original it's so fake, like they've gone through so much meticulous work that even the smallest details are made to fit. Like it is truly a piece of art. If it is all doctored, it is a piece of art because they were meticulous in what they were doing, right? To make it look real and authentic. Whereas this is not. Like the hour and 2, you watch it and you go, how did this fool anyone?
We could have made it.
We could have made it.
We could not have made the Alien Autopsy.
Yeah, that's the difference. Is we could have made this
That's how I
found
think about
footage.
We could have made the found
That's the
footage, but
difference.
Alien Autopsy was, it would be a way bigger, it's way more production to
I think
do it.
you need they said they had an actual professional special effects guy. If we had one of those, maybe.
If they would have had one of those professional special effects guys to make these aliens and the spaceship and stuff, different maybe. Might have been different.
I also may believe that M. Night Shyamalan stole a bunch of this shit for Signs. Because it's like almost beat for beat, a lot of this is like from Signs. Or, Signs like pulls all this shit from that film.
It also kind of reminds me of that. We talked about it a long time ago, but the fucking demon like aliens on that tin roof scratching and shit like that.
Oh.
Like I got a lot of undertones from that as well. And that was scary.
Kelly
as fuck.
Hopkinsville encounter, right?
That one, yeah.
And it's
That was
very, very
creepy.
similar to this. I wouldn't be surprised if you maybe had a sit down interview with this guy that story was not influential in how he wrote this production, because
I think he said he got a lot of his stuff from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, because in the remake he said they included that whole segment, that scene where all of the phones and stuff start going off and all the electronics start flashing. That was in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And he also said that he pulled a bunch of stuff from, is it Jacques Vallée or something, which was he's another prominent figure in the UFO
Jacques
community.
Vallée, yeah.
He's kind of big on the grays and things like that.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it's
Go check it out.
go
on
check
YouTube.
it out. Hashtag look it up, watch it.
Let us know what you think.
It's fun.
Would this have fooled you if
Yeah.
if you didn't know it was fake? Watch the original. Try to see if this would fool you. Let us know.
100%.
Why don't we get into a little bit of space news? Woo!
Ooh, yeah.
Well, December 6th, 2020, after 6 years in space, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency's Hayabusa 2 spacecraft will finally return to Earth with the collection from the asteroid Ryugu.
Nice.
This
Ryugu?
Yeah, I think we fucked up.
Ryugu?
I think we said
Hayabusa Tusa.
we said the
Hayabusa
NASA one was the
2.
first one to collect from a comet or asteroid. This is the first one. They got
Yeah.
Yep.
they got like what, a couple 100 milligrams of sample or something to drop off.
Yeah.
Pretty rad.
So it'll be very cool. So maybe we'll have some Venom-like symbiotes on Earth
Yeah,
very shortly.
Soon. Sure.
We won't know till December 6th, but that'll be interesting. So look, when's the December 6th? We probably won't know anything. A
Couple weeks from now.
December 7th. Look for it on the December 18th Alien Theorizing Space News. See if there's anything else. What else did I have here? Oh, we're about to witness a super rare planetary alignment not seen for 800 years. Stargazers are in for a treat over Christmas as Jupiter and Saturn will get closer to each other in the Earth sky than they have been for nearly 800 years. So get your telescopes out because it's going to be very interesting between December 16th and 27th. You're going to be able to see them. Where did I have it written down? 1/5 the diameter of a full moon they'll be separated by.
They're gonna look as one bright star because they're gonna be so close in the sky. They're gonna look like they're gonna be one star. Obviously, they're not that close, but just the way they are aligned, once every 800 years, it's gonna look like one planet in the sky, unless you get a powerful telescope and zoom in.
And we will rename, and they will become one planet, and we will rename them Jupern or Satupiter.
I like Satupiter.
Scientists haven't figured out a name yet.
Lord of the Moons.
That's dope.
It'll fuse into one mega planet.
What else did I have here? Asteroid hunting telescope is being urgently taken down to avoid a catastrophic collapse.
This is very bad news.
Yeah, very bad news for us, and our efforts to avoid a cataclysmic event.
We talked about it. We talked about it in the summer at Arecibo.
Yeah, observatory.
So it had a failure back in was it July, where one of the support lines snapped.
Yep.
And it ended up crashing into the array and put 100-foot hole. And then they've been actively trying to figure out how to fix it. And while they're actively trying to fix it, a even bigger support guy wire collapsed or snapped, making an even bigger hole in the array, rendering the whole satellite array, the radio telescope. Is it the biggest in the world or second biggest? It's
one of the biggest.
It's one of the biggest.
I think the biggest one might be in China now.
It's been around for years and years.
Biggest.
They are going to have to now dismantle it because you cannot save it. It's toast.
Yeah.
Dead. It's dead, unfortunately.
So we're in the dark.
Bummer.
We don't know if asteroids are coming to hit us. We don't know.
RIP Arecibo Observatory, the 1,000-foot, 305-meter radio telescope in Puerto Rico is dead. RIP.
Did anyone else have any space news?
Nope.
Let's fire up the randomatron.
No, let's do it.
If you don't have any more.
Randomatron coming up.
Let's see what it spits out.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! And just before I read this, I got a printout here. I just want to let everyone know. Space news. Most of the space news is found on sciencealert.com. It's honestly the best website. I've been using it for the last couple of months. It gives you such diverse, interesting news. We're not sponsored by them or anything, but we should be because they're awesome. We love Science Alert here.
Follow them.
Yeah, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, they do all sorts of science, tech, space, and you can filter about what you want to see. It's awesome. It's really, really good.
Best there is.
UFO case file of the week. Turner, Harry Joe.
Boom.
On the 28th of August, 1979, At almost midnight, truck driver Harry Joe Turner was driving through Virginia. Suddenly, the lights and radio, CB radio, and engine of his truck cut out. He saw bright lights in his rearview mirror, and something dark flew across the top of the vehicle. Although the truck was apparently still coasting at over 70 miles per hour, an entity ripped open the door, jumped in, and grabbed Turner's shoulder. Turner, however, was not diplomatic in his response. He pulled out a revolver. He pulled out a revolver and fired a bullet into the entity, causing it no harm whatsoever.
Shit.
Turner passed out. When he came round, he was in a parking lot at Fredericksburg, some 17 miles away, although apparently there was over 100 miles worth of fuel gone from the truck. This is some Fast and the Furious shit. They fucking jumped on, stole his fuel and his cargo.
Siphoned off his gas just to leave him there.
It's the family. Where was I? One of his radio aerials was burned and the other was sheared off. And there was apparently a thin film of material covering the cab. The witness passed out on his way home again and came to in a local hospital. So the witness, I'm guessing, is Joe Turner.
Joe Turner.
Yes, Harry Joe Turner. I don't know if his name's Harry Joe or if that's just like he's just a Harry description of it. Old Harry Joe Turner. No hypnotic regression was needed to fill in the missing time. His memory came back unaided. After he had shot at the entity, the truck had apparently been lifted into the air and into a hovering craft above. On board, Turner encountered humanoids dressed in white clothes and caps covering their ears. You could have just said caps. I don't think anyone cares about that fucking detail. He was apparently operated on and a device implanted into his left side, which gave the aliens control over him. This is like real life cross-country Canada, basically. Right? Real life. Put the truck back down and it seems that he was taken on a tour of space, was able to examine Neil Armstrong's footprints on the moon, and saw cities on planets orbiting the star Alpha Centauri. After this experience, he claimed he had gained psychic powers and had many more contacts with the aliens. He took an interest in religion and apparently made a determined effort to understand his own experiences.
Do it. Yep, say it. What do you got?
Well, I know this word, but for some reason I can't remember how to pronounce it.
That's what I mean. What is it?
Analysis of the...
I had to think about it.
I think it's because I always joke and say anal cysts that I couldn't remember how to say it.
You took a 10-second pause to think about it.
Can you edit that out so I don't seem so dumb?
Nope.
Analysis of the physical traces relating to the encounter proved inconclusive. There was nothing that could not have been done deliberately, and there was some controversy surrounding Turner himself, with some of his colleagues believing him to be hoaxing to be bigger than he is, and others believing he is an honest man. That's the story of Quick Draw Harry Joe Quick Draw Revolver.
I like it.
I like that. He was not diplomatic. You, sir, relieve your hand from my shoulder.
Think about being a big enough badass to pull out your revolver and shoot at a fucking alien and then pass out after.
Yeah.
Just
he's probably drunk.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Who knows? That's a good story though. Fucking hip fires the alien.
It's the way of the
And
road.
then, but see, he passes out because he shoots the alien. Nothing happens, and then he's like, "Oh my
A man's
god!"
cab is his castle, man. You can't be coming up in there, fucking
the
ripping
way
off
of the road.
doors and grabbing my
The cab
shoulder.
is-
Fucking,
Cab is
Should
my
have tossed a
castle.
piss jug at him.
yeah, it's lucky. Yeah, lucky you didn't get a face full of piss. How about a bottle of sunshine right here?
All right, let's. Who we got for a theory of the week?
Well, before theory of the week, I just want to talk about. We forgot to talk about before. When are we releasing Cosmic Channels? I was thinking December 1st.
Boom, December 1st.
Sounds good.
First, we're gonna release 5 episodes. So if you, you've been able to subscribe to Cosmic Channels, our call-in show. It's been live for a bit. There's been some people do it, but if you can, hold off. Don't push subscribe or follow or anything until December 1st.
Don't even look at it.
Don't even look at it. December 1st, search for Cosmic Channels on Spotify or any other podcast platform. Obviously, we prefer Spotify, but you can do whatever you want. This is going to be everywhere. December 1st, Cosmic Channels, the call-in show. Spotify number 1, the rest, whatever. Anywhere, though. December 1st, Cosmic Channels. Don't forget. It's going to be awesome. We're recording
December 1st.
December 1st.
Like and subscribe.
Booyah.
And leave us a 5-star review on Cosmic Channels as well.
Do it. Do that shit. All that fun stuff helps the show. Theory of the week. This week, we're going to give it to Rohan Weston for making me in my namesake as the Man of Steel with fangs with blood flying on
Man of
Superman's
starch,
body.
you mean.
Yeah.
Perfect. I thought it was great. This guy knows what's up. Rohan Weston, theorite.
Capturing the true essence of Zell.
That's a true story of Man of Steel or Iron Man,
Hey.
depending which way you want to put it.
Well, instead of getting your power from the sun, you get them from McCormick's candy
That's
bananas. That makes
yeah,
sense.
100%.
That's what it is. Yeah. They're both yellow, right?
Yep.
So are
Yeah,
russets.
that checks out.
Or
Science is good.
russets? No, man, the Yukon Gold. Everyone knows that. Okay. Brayden's favorite part of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's favorite part of the show.
Yeah.
This is the best part. People only
I've
turn
waited for a
in.
whole show for this.
Here's
It's the whole
a-
reason I do the show.
Some other news. This song, the outro version of Alien Theorists Theorizing, is actually called Ascension by Zeltron. Will be available November 27th on all streaming platforms. If you want to just
Get that
you
shit.
want some epic music for your sports team, you know, look up Zeltron Ascension. I'd appreciate it. This week, supporting on Patreon, we have Zach Cheek, Casey Lambinis, Kyle, Antonio Reza, Andrew Smith, Matthew Wickland, Richmond Robinson. There's always one. Julie Kreiselmeyer. Sounds right. Justin Woodland and Jens John. Thank you very much for supporting the show. If you want to support your show, support your favorite podcast, head over to patreon.com/Alien Theorist Podcast or find the link to our Patreon in the episode description. Stay tuned for After Hours, a bunch of bonus content, and a whole bunch of other goodies. We'd appreciate it.
And as we always say at the end of these things, keep those eyes on the skies.
Peace, everybody.
The comfort of your favorite seat is now your comfy car selling command center, thanks to Carvana.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Your favorite seat's the best spot in the house. Make it even better by entering your license plate or VIN and getting a real offer in minutes.
There really is no place like home.
And speaking of home, Carvana will pick up your car from yours after you finalize your offer. Visit Carvana.com or download the app and sell your car from your comfy place. That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable.